Big hello to everyone from the Tin Man. Okay, there was a few yous yesterday made a comment about maybe the copper was what was stopping the production of oxygen in my cell, and it would seem that you were spot on the money. If I put this in the bottom of our tank here, I get no oxygen production. If I stick a bit of stainless plate in there, perforated in this case, we indeed get our oxygen bubbles back. So for those of you that want to make pure hydrogen, just use a copper plate as your positive plate, and then you'll have straight hydrogen and also a big mess at the end of it. Okay, second thing I want to talk about here, I've been having a discussion with good old Russ over at RWG Research. If you haven't seen his work already, pop on over. Very well set up and building some really wild looking machines over there. He's chasing Stan Meyer's work, doing his best to replicate that, so give him all the support you can. He's doing a very good job, and of course shares his findings freely. Okay, this, like I said, is in regards to a conversation I've been having with him, and it was also some testing I've done on my own behalf in regards to dry cells, wet cells and current leakage around the ends of plates. So what I've done here, and I've done this test just because I'm a little confused as to why people go to so much effort to seal the edge of their stainless plates like they do in the dry cells to stop the current leakage. They then go and add electrolyte to their water so they can bring the current back up. So here we have a solid plate, as you can see, and a piece of this perforated mesh. Now the solid plate, I've put silicone around the full edge of the plate to seal it. As you'll see, no bubbles will form off of the edges, just to replicate what they're doing in their dry cells. The other one, of course, is this perforated mesh, and looking at that, that would just be one big sheet of current leakage. No sealer on it whatsoever, just cut straight out of the sheet, no sanding, nothing. So as you can see, that's not only got the full edge that our current can leak around, but every single hole in it as well. Right, so here our red lead of course goes to the plate that's sitting in the bottom, back to our positive on our power supply, 13.7 volts on the power supply. Negative is going through our meter into the solid plate, and this one's through our meter into the perforated mesh plate. So in theory this one should draw a whole lot more amps for a whole lot less production. So we'll switch it on. It does take a little while because this is just straight water, absolutely nothing in it, no electrolyte of any sort. Now as you can see, our perforated mesh is indeed producing a lot more hydrogen than our solid piece of plate, so one would think the amp draw is going to be a lot higher. 78 milliamps on the perforated plate, 94 milliamps on our solid plate with the edges sealed. As you can see, the edges are not producing any bubbles, so our seal is good, and you can see that the perforated plate is killing it in hydrogen production. So what we'll do now is I'll swap the meters over just so you can see it's not the meters. Take that one off of there and put it on there, one off of there. So So this meter here is now for our perforated plate. This meter here is now for our solid plate. Turn our power back on. Our solid plate, 90 milliamps. Our perforated plate, 80 milliamps. And that perforated plate is just smoky with bubbles, the whole plate. Whereas the solid plate, which I have cross-hatch sanded, sealed the edges, isn't doing so good, but drawing a lot more amps. Alrighty, so from what I've seen in the many tests I've done, this one here, a side-by-side test, meters changed over, so you can see it's not the meters. The voltage leakage being a waste of power seems not to be true. I know a lot of guys out there that love their dry cells, sealed edge stainless plates, are going to have arguments about that, but it's right there in front of you. Identical tests, identical size pieces of plate, in the same tub of water, and those are the results we're getting. More hydrogen off of the perforated plate for less watts. Now something really interesting would be if someone's already got a dry cell out there, grab some perforated plate, make another one exactly the same size, same setup, same amount of plates, and chuck this in instead of the solid stainless, run them side by side and see what happens. So that's what I've got for you. They're the results. So yeah, until the next one, cheers from the Tin Man.